Hello and welcome. We're going to get Dr. Willow on this morning. And that's what we do. Let's see. Right. Join. Hi, welcome.
Go live.
Oh,
Hey.
oh, there you are. It worked.
It worked.
Look at you.
Don't you love it when technology works? It's just
Especially during Mercury retrograde.
no. When does Mercury go direct anyway?
14th. So it's today, the 12th, 2 days
Hallelujah.
goes direct.
I can't wait.
But let's not forget there's the shadow to Mercury.
There's always the shadow, the little
Always
window.
something going on with that Mercury. And so we have 2 weeks after where we get to be extra special and just, be patient and all the stuff.
Yes, be patient. That's the key right now. That's the ticket. Be patient and be true to your truth.
Amen.
My friend.
Sister, patience, non-attachment, honor thy truth. So that's what we're diving into today.
That's right. Let's dive in, girl. You lead the way.
All right. Let's see. Well, let's take a moment just to kind of breathe in and arrive here because that's what I need. Yeah, so we've been talking a lot about the seasons, a lot about what is required in letting go and the winter when we go through the dark night of the soul and when we go through the complete, you can't have the resurrection, the remembrance and rebirth without that expression of death. What's wanting to be spoken through today is about non-attachment. And my guides have been saying to me for a good, I don't know, seems like a decade, I'll just say, because it makes it easy because time is such a weird thing, to attach to nothing and allow for everything. Attach to nothing, allow for everything. And it's become almost like my mantra, I would say. And every time I start to attach, my being says, attach to nothing, allow for everything. And I'm like, okay, what does that mean? But as we move through this dimension shift, this lightening of density, it starts to make more and more sense. So I'd love to know what it means to you. What it means to me is that in this third dimensionality we've been living in, it's the premise of it is separation. Separation from self, from God's self, from each other. We forget that we are infinitely connected to all things through space, time, veils, all the illusion. Like we are connected to all things, yet we've forgotten. So I'm getting to witness how much I attach to people, places, things, thoughts, beliefs, emotions, because I perceive or believe that there's security within it. And I believe what we're being invited into is to understand, and I know I've spoken to this in other lives we've done, but that there's only 3 points of connection. That's self to self, womb, self to higher self, and self to source itself. And so everything outside of that's getting rocked. And we talked about that in terms of letting go. What we get to talk about today is how do we be in presence to people, places, things, and yet not attached to them? How do we stay in love and congruence, yet not in that? And there's that moment when it turns where you're like observing it, and then it turns into like, what if I don't have it? And what if? And we start to panic in that. So let's talk about that.
Let's talk about that. Yeah.
Let's talk about that.
So there's this thing that happens, I think, when especially attachment within intimate relationships and love, right? That's kind of up for a lot of people on the planet right now, especially a lot of women. Definitely up for you and I. And so, there's this shift that happens when you're seeing someone, you're getting interested, you're getting involved with them. You kind of go from this universal love, like, oh, I love you, you're a wonderful person, I love you, just like you love the person in your community, like, and the person at the grocery store.
Love. Like, I just love you to exist.
Yeah, there's that universal love, and then it shifts down into the emotional love, where it's like, oh, I have a room for you right here in my heart. Would you like to come on into my heart hotel? Because I got a suite for you.
Heart.
And so
I like that.
Yeah, so when we shift into that emotional love, that's when we've got to watch our attachment style, right? How are we attaching? And what is it about that person? Because still if it's new, if they're a new relationship, you're still getting to know them. So at this point, they're who you want them to be, right? And so it's something inside of you that you're glomming onto, that you're attaching to, that you want to keep and have, something that might be missing inside of you that you see inside of them, that you really feel like, if I have that outside of myself in them, I will be complete. And
an external projection of something you desire internally is what you're saying.
Yes, exactly. And there's something that is brewing for me right now, which is like, we're heading into fall here in Northern America. And it's this thing about surrender. It's this thing about letting go, like the allowing, the surrendering, the attached to nothing, allow for everything. That is pure surrender. And love, when it's in its purest state, it's unconditional. And when it's not in a pure state, it's conditional. It's, I love you if you be this way, or you do this thing for me, or you give me that, or I give you this, or you allow me to give you this or that, right? If you create the space for me in your life, then I love you. So there's all these like layers of love. We've got universal love, we've got the emotional love, then we've got the unconditional love and the conditional love.
The attached love,
yeah,
that I'll be better for having.
Love. Exactly.
Yeah.
So how do we navigate that? How do we discern in each moment? Small intestine paired together with the heart. Small intestine's all about discernment. It's pure or it's impure. It's good for me or it's not good for me. So how do we use our gut to discern pure from impure in our navigation of this attaching?
Oh, that's so interesting, because you come from the Taoist, Chinese medicine way, and I would say this is what I love, is that we all say the same things in such a, like, I would talk about womb and heart coherence.
Yeah.
And heart, womb and to head. Like, for me, the 3D sits within the mind, where we try to figure it out. And when we move down into that womb space, we move into the feeling senses of where we figure it from within, where we feel what is for us, not think what is for us. So it's that congruence in between it. How do we do this? Well, I believe that we need to first take a step back as the observer in all things. We have to take a step back. This is part of our ascension, is we have to become so sourced in being the observer without attaching to, we can feel it all, but the mind wants to attach. I'll be better if I have that, and this will change, and have that, and then I can do this, and then I can be this. And we have this whole story that's written based on the attachments of the mind. If we move into the gut, we can stay in that neutral zone of love that is unconditional, unattached love. Like, I love you because you exist. I am curious what this dance or this walk forward can mean or look like. And it's not just romantic love. It's like all relationships, right? I mean, familial relationships are up right now in the karmic cleanup. All of our relationships are up, especially, as Venus was retrograde and now it's moving direct, or has moved direct. But it's like everything's up for review. And so this non-attachment, we have to first step back and be the observer. What is this leaning towards me? Am I leaning towards it? What do I perceive that I will have, that I perceive I don't have within myself, in the attachment to this external representation of love? And so if we pause, which is presence, and we take the step back, we can move into neutrality. And from neutrality, we can get really clear about what is true. And then we could perhaps hook into that truth and that desire of what it is, where that lives inside of us. Yeah. This shit is not easy.
No, it's not.
Like, that all sounds great, but then it's like,
yeah,
it's like,
it's hard. The best thing you can do, though, is you drop out of your head and into your heart. If you can find that coherent field in your heart that matches the great universal coherent field. I mean, think about anahata, like the anahata of your own heart, you know, that place of pure dwelling. Like the anahata of the world right now is literally on fire. Maui is literally on fire. Now the volcanoes are erupting on Hawaii. It's like the heart chakra of the planet, you know, Haleakala, and just these really wild times that we're in right now where it's like there's an explosion of the heart, and what was is no longer to be. And if you don't go through the initiation portal that is calling you to go through it, you're going to be suffering. You're going to continue to suffer. And so this is the initiation that is no fun, but really, really powerful. And you don't know what's on the other side. You don't. And you can't. And that's part of it. It's you have to get comfortable with the unknown.
You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That's ascension. You have to get comfortable being uncomfortable. And I don't know if anyone really gets to avoid it. I mean,
no.
Maybe some are more
ignore it. They certainly ignore it.
Or they go to their vices, to their
Yeah.
patterns, their habitualized patterns of numbing and that sort of thing. Maybe that's how to avoid, but we know that what you resist persists. So you might as well just go through the fire and burn it all down, and,
and know that you're not alone in it. Know that like we're doing it right there with you. And there's so many. I've got groups of women around the world who are going through this in Australia and Ireland and England, like all over the world. It's happening. And it just is what's happening right now. So know that as you take each step and as you take each breath and as you go through this time of initiation and challenge, that you're not doing it by yourself.
You're never doing this alone. I think that's always our biggest message, that we get to choose it all through presence, and you're never alone. And this thing wanted to come through too right now is that if we really, really, really move into presence, and we really truly only have this moment. I mean, that's what death taught me, was like, we're not guaranteed anything beyond this. And so we want to attach to, I'll be better off for this experience, this relationship, this job, this move, this whatever, all this attachment stuff. And none of it's fucking guaranteed. Like, we really truly have this moment. And so I do believe that part of how that's rewired my consciousness, and sometimes I forget, but it's to be in such gratitude for every moment that I get that's precious, that I feel connected, that feels as if it's divine. It's like every one of those moments is the only moment. And so if we're not attached to anything and we're allowing for everything, then we get to be in the full experience of every moment that we're having. And we get to be so in such gratitude for the moment, because it could truly, like, it is really the only moment that exists. Nothing else is guaranteed. Mm-hmm. So we link arms, we walk each other home. And when I forget, you remind me. And when you forget, I remind you. And that's what we do for each other. Yeah. We remember that we are infinite beings of creation, of light. We are loved eternally because we exist. And any way we express that, and with whomever we express that in any given moment, is the divine's gift.
Absolutely. Absolutely, baby. And if you're going through it and you're needing support and you're needing help, just send us a little, message, and we're here for you. So.
Yeah, indeed, it is true. I love our chick chats. I love dreaming the queen awake. Thank you for doing this with me. And we'll see you guys next week.
Much love.
Much love.